Hello again, and welcome to episode 168 of SDGC for Thursday, November 7th. If you're not aware, Super Deformed Gamescast meets right here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the latest gaming headlines with a wide variety of panel members and guests. We also do a whole bunch of other stuff as time allows, like a separate show about movies and television, pre-recorded content, and a bi-weekly morning show every other Friday. If you've been along for the ride so far, welcome home. And if not, hey, feel free to stick around and maybe throw us a sub. Every single podcast is archived the next day on our YouTube channel for those who like to watch, and you can find all of our content on all major podcast services for those who like to listen. So before we kind of kick off into all the topics and the guest, I want to give a brief update for everybody who donated to not just our stream for Extra Life, but everybody's. As you're all aware, there was a DDoS attack, and as a result, some people were charged for multiple donations. If you got in contact with Extra Life, or if you haven't gotten in touch with Extra Life yet, I recommend you do. They just sent out an email saying that they are going to start rolling refunds out. So please, if you were charged multiple times for your donation, get in touch with Extra Life and get your money back, because that shouldn't happen. It's not their fault and it's not your fault, but you still deserve to get that money back. And on that topic, thank you so much to everybody who turned out to watch Derek and I stream 24 hours of games. It was a great time. Combined with Finn's stream over at NOLA Nerdcast, we raised over $3,500 for Children's Network Hospitals. It was a great time. I learned a lot about Hyperdimension Neptunia, a little more, in fact, than I would say that I wanted to. And Derek and I played some Basrit Bowl. Love playing Basrit Bowl. Basrit Bowl with Derek. So that was a great time. And before we kick everything off, I know that Reb would like to say a couple things as well.
Yes. So as I was attempting to say, a couple days ago on the 5th, we relaunched the SDGC community Discord. There was one that existed before that. Now I can hear myself. There was one that existed before that. It was fairly quiet and tame, and nothing was really happening in it. And so we pulled together and we decided that we were going to try again. And I've made this joke already on the Discord server and on my own Twitter. But I really, like I said to John that night, I was like, we're going to have like 10 people. It's not like we don't need to worry about this too much. And I was realistically thinking we'd have something like, 40 or 50 when it was all said and done, maybe kind of a quiet, chill amount. We currently have 181 people in that Discord, and they're all very noisy in the best way. And it is great. And I wanted to plug it. Derek, you added a thing, I think.
Yeah, there's a Discord Nightbot now.
Or Zach did, or somebody added it. I don't know. But they can show you how that works if you want to link to the server. Please come join and hang out with us if you've not already. I also wanted to give just the biggest, warmest public thank you to our four community managers, Dio, Lena, Rar, and Kagasu. They are four wonderful, longtime members of the SDGC community, and they are just kind, wonderful, good humans, and they are just amazing in taking time to kind of help us figure out how best to interact with this thing we made that got way bigger than we thought it would very quickly. And I just appreciate them, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart and all of our hearts. You all are really wonderful, and thank you everybody for joining and having a good time with us.
It's pretty incredible. I gotta say, we've got an amazing community on SDGC. And I'll say one more thing. There are 29 people in the chat right now. Every one of you, I don't see 29 retweets on our podcast tweet.
Jonathan,
so please
out here shilling.
Go help us shill the podcast. Please help us spread the word.
We're very sorry about him.
Don't be sorry for me.
Red, careful, he might mute us again.
I will. I actually
scary.
I do wield a lot of power right now since Derek's not here. So just bear that in mind. Next time anybody wants to talk about my opinions or anything.
Your bad ones?
My good ones. I do have some good opinions. What?
John, let's introduce our guest.
Yes, we do have a guest. Nathan, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
No.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
I'm Nathan, aka Two-Headed Giant on Twitch, and on Twitter as well. I also co-host a improvised comedy video game show called the New Entertainment System Podcast with Cam Koenig, who is in chat right now. And basically we have a robot that messes up or jumbles up styles, subjects, and twists, and we get a prompt to then design a game. Reb was on an episode with us, and we just booked Derek for one
Oh, thank goodness.
as well. And if you'll indulge me, we can do a mini session right now because I have the robot pulled up. So
that
like
sounds awesome.
I'm so excited.
We have about 130 subjects, about 125 styles, and then like 115 twists. So right now we have an ice climbers game that's a point and click game, but it requires the track and field pad. So
What?
you have to
Yeah.
you have to galaxy brain. This is how we do this show. You think like, okay, it's an ice climbers game that's a point and click game, so maybe you're hunting eggplants or something like that. And the polar bear with the cool shorts is also there, but you're using the track and field pad to control a point and click game. Which
What is the track and field pad?
Yeah, well,
So it is this old. It's basically a ring you put on your on the floor and like
It's a pad. It's a pad
supposedly
you put on the
move
floor.
on.
Yeah.
You
Is it like
step
a
on it.
predecessor to the Ring Fit?
No, so
controller?
Red,
Kind of like a old DDR pad.
Basically,
Okay.
the track and field pad was just like this plastic pad you put on the floor, and it had the big NES buttons on it. And the idea was to just like sit there and run, stomp on it. But really, what everybody did was sit on their knees and just slap it with their fucking hands.
Yeah.
Well, that's
That's-
definitely how you
I
play the
broke
Ice Climbers
plastic
game then.
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and
so
it's-
okay, so how do you so for people who haven't seen your show before, talk to us about how you go, like how do you start with this game? Like what is do you design the full thing around it, or is this just like pulled from the generator? Like do you
So we have a spreadsheet that is it shows me what like the finished prompt is. So I have a sheet, or I have a page that says a blank game that's blank but blank, and it'll fill that in. And currently there are 24,591,500 different combinations available. So we're going to be doing this show for a million years.
What was the one we got? It was a Garfield game that was a twin stick shooter, but it was on the
Dreamcast, which is a
Dreamcast,
system
yeah.
which doesn't have
Does
twin
not have
sticks.
twin sticks. So
And
we designed like a controller, like a specialty controller that would come built in with this game that had twin sticks. It was shaped like Garfield's face.
we also made on that episode, we made
The
a
My Little
game.
Pony.
Yeah, we made a My Little Pony Transformers Gran Turismo game. So it's fun. So if you just search for the New Entertainment System podcast in your favorite app, you can find it, or you can go at the NES Pod on Twitter, and a bunch of goofy games are to be had. So yeah, that's me.
So when you say do a round,
Mm-hmm.
when you say do a round, like is that something you do every podcast? Is that every single one?
So every podcast we do 2 games, about 15 minutes section per game, and we have a guest on from the games industry, games podcast scene, or games journalism industry. And like this week's episode was Jesse Cox. The week before that was Max Scoville.
I saw the Max. Yeah, I know that was a big get for you guys. Was Max from IGN?
So was Jesse. Yeah. Well, anybody's a big get, right? I'm thankful for anybody to be on the show, but those two were definitely more surprising response emails that that we've gotten, to say the least. And like next week we've got Jordan Starkweather from the Pocketoid podcast on, and we talk about a Muso game that's a Sims game. So it's fun. Check it out.
You are
Sounds
excellent at
sick.
plugging your own stuff, but I will just add, having been a guest on this podcast, it's not only like honestly one of the most unique, because I mean a gaming podcast, like we sit around and talk about games, like that's every gaming podcast I say on a gaming podcast that talks about games. But this is honestly like one of the most unique ideas for a show that I've heard of, and it is also executed extremely effectively and amusingly by Nathan and Cam. So props to you guys.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
All right, so Nathan, dude, we are thrilled to have you here with us. And wait, what is going
There's
on?
just some cat ass.
There's a cat
There's
emergency.
a cat. There's a cat showing his ass on the cam. Okay, I was wondering what that was. Nathan, dude, it's great to have you here. We've been trying to make this happen for like 2 months now.
It finally happened.
It's all my fault because I'm terrible with
It
organization.
is.
It really is. Yeah, no, it absolutely is because I suck with dates and organizations. So I fully admit it. I fully admit it. It's my fault.
Fine. I'm giving you shit. It's fine.
So why don't we launch into our first topic, which, of course, as per usual these days, what are we playing? Reb, ladies first, why don't we start with you?
Folks, I just beat Luigi's Mansion 3.
I'm so close. I'm so close to beating it.
It's so good. I'm not gonna spoil it for you folks. I will say a couple things aside from my usual gushing about how just freaking cute it is. It is an extremely, so I think when people say something is like a really Nintendo ass thing, they mean it either really good or really bad. Like either they mean Virtual Boy Nintendo or they mean like, I don't know, like Super Mario Odyssey. Nintendo.
Yeah, that level.
Yeah, and so this is an extremely Nintendo-ass game in the good way. Like it's really wholesome and it's really like tight and I don't like the controls. I think you can quibble about the controls, but in terms of like how it looks and how the areas are designed, it's just really like polished and full. Like it's just you want a Luigi's Mansion game, you want to vacuum and you want to just suck shit up for hours, and that is this game. It's really good. The floor, it's funny. There's lots of just weird little bits of design humor that I think are fantastic. It's really well fleshed out. Luigi is darling, his little Mario with his little vacuum. He's so cute. The ending is just sweet and wholesome. Like it's not going to surprise you, but it's very enjoyable. And I'm really happy. It ended up about 15 hours and then an extra like 4 or so to go back and finish getting a whole bunch of collectibles. So it's, I think you can suck like a solid 20 hours out of that game or more if you're really, really into it. But it's really fantastic. If you're not already buying Pokemon or Death Stranding or one of the other just big ass games that's just coming out any second now, and you have $60 to throw on something, Luigi's Mansion is a really good choice. It's so nice.
Reb, it is bar none, in my opinion, the best looking game visually on the Switch. It's just
really pretty. I say this a lot about Nintendo games, but I very much think that they are okay with the trade-off and should be okay with the trade-off. Like they know that games like The Witcher 3 are just never going to look that great on the Switch. And they're fine with that because Nintendo first-party games, they're just going to make their stylized stuff and make it look just fucking incredible.
Yep.
And they're fine with that. And I honestly, I'm fine with it. I don't care. That's great.
Well, I think most are fine with it. Yeah. Like I
think if you own a
people are just
Switch.
happy to have portable Witcher. It's just people are impressed by the technology of it.
Yeah, portable Overwatch, like whatever.
Yeah, and
exactly.
like if you're like there has to be a sacrifice for portability, right? Like, would I tell somebody like the system of choice for Witcher 3 is the Switch? No, never.
The ideal Switcher.
But yeah, like, come on, it's just not. But having said that, do you A, do you not care about visuals, and B, do you want to play The Witcher in bed, like, or on the bus, or or at work, or in the break room? Like, you can do that, and that's the kind of the what's great about the Switch. I too have been playing a lot of Luigi's Mansion 3. I've got like 2 floors left. I'm right at the end. I love, like, sometimes I will just sit there and let Luigi stand in the elevator and hum the theme song like he does. Yeah, it's so fucking good. It's so fucking good, and it visually it's almost like a Pixar movie. Like, that's how, like, the game opens up and I thought there was a CG scene. Well, I legit thought I was watching CG, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, no, this is in game. Like, this is the game engine running. And Donnie on Twitter had said a little while back, he said Luigi's Mansion is the first game on Switch that I think looks comparable to an Xbox One game. And having played it on handheld, especially on handheld, since even though there's a lower resolution, everything, all the pixels are grouped together, I concur. It's a beautiful game. I agree with Reb in the sense that the controls are a little wonky. And there's one level in particular that has to do with water that made me want to chew fucking glass because of the wonky controls. It involves a raft and some water. Yeah, that kind of made me want to chew on broken glass for a little while. But I will also say that there is a sand level that.
God, don't talk about the sand level.
I spent way too much time in.
I'm so mad about that.
I spent way too much time in the sand level. But Luigi's Mansion.
I'm actually double mad about that because I went on Twitter and told everybody not to bother back sand, and then all you fools did it anyway.
There's a gem in there somewhere, Reb. There's a gem in there.
Yeah, but you can just there's like a mound, like you can kind of see where it is. You can just walk over there and vacuum it, just vacuum up all the cool looking spots and leave the rest of it alone.
See, I suffer from severe OCD, so I was like, fuck, I have to get every grain of sand. I have to get every grain of sand, and that's what I did. I got every grain of sand, and it took me a lot longer than I want to talk about.
It wasn't worth it.
I will say that being near the end, I can confidently say that Luigi's Mansion is going to be in the Game of the Year discussion for me. I fucking love this.
Very good. I can't wait to hear what you think of the ending. I mean, it's not like shocking or but it's just wholesome and nice.
Reb, can we point out that the fucking game over screen is actually legitimately terrifying?
Oh, it is. It's really, it's spooky.
It's dark. Yeah, I'm like, holy shit. Like,
good night.
Luigi's trapped in a fucking, a silent prison void for all eternity. That's awful.
Yeah, it's like horror.
Yeah, it's really, and then it's like, good night. And I'm like, oh God, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. No,
I don't like it. Yeah.
I would like to move on to, if you guys don't mind, to Brandon, because Brandon, I wanted to talk about the Nier Automata raid in Final Fantasy XIV. We did, but I would like you to speak on that, Brandon.
And by together, I mean us and 22 others.
Yes, we did not.
Shout out to those 22 other people.
We needed the carry.
Brandon,
what do you want to say about it? Like,
no, just your thoughts on the music, the actual the style of the raid, like.
It does. It lives up to the expectations, right? Because it's like I played Nier Automata to prepare for the raid and everything, so you get it, like it's ridiculously faithful. Like the assets are all there. Like it looks straight out of Nier Automata, which again, Nier Automata was not pushing graphical boundaries, so fitting its assets into an MMO engine. Anyway,
not hard at all.
It's all there. So the first 3 bosses, I think you get like it's music straight from Nier.
Yep, that kind of that opening theme that you get as you're flying in on that first mission.
Yeah. So all
wretched weaponry.
While you're, is that the name of one?
Is it the name of the
track? No, I have not played Nier Automata myself, but boy, have I listened to that soundtrack.
I'm looking it up real quick to see if it's one of them.
It should be,
I'm losing hope in my body and my soul.
I am here for Reb singing the.
No, that song is not in the raid. However,
are you shitting me?
There are still 2 more raids to come, and one would hope that there's things that people are looking for that are not in this first one. Like, let's say the opera boss was highly requested and would make perfect sense as a raid boss, because you do get Ingalls. Like the gigantic ass big, I don't even know how to describe it because it's so big, but it's like one of the big set piece bosses from Nier Automata is a raid boss, and he breaks the ground, slams your whole party up in the air.
Like the way they're able to translate that into an MMO experience is so like I didn't know what to expect, but they did it so faithfully. Yeah.
Like it's the boss, like the Rock'em Sock'em Robots boss from Nier Automata.
It's so good.
Where it turns into like a 2D fighting game for 30 seconds or whatever. But it's that boss, and he does like he's like swinging his left arm across the left side of the field and then swings his right arm across the right side. So the mechanics do translate really well. Like he's doing the same attacks from the game, and it is a lot of fun. It's long. I mean,
it is a long raid. Yeah.
Yeah. On Tuesday morning, when everyone was like brand new and didn't know what was going on or what to expect, it took us an hour and 15 minutes, I think, for one.
Oh, a raid that takes an hour. That's so long.
Wow.
Reb and her 3-hour World of Warcraft raids over here.
Why would anyone want to do a 3-hour raid?
I don't know.
I've done Destiny raids that take
too long.
Like 10.
No.
Did you say 10 hours?
When the new raid comes out, I'm gonna be raiding 3 hours a night, 2 nights a week, and we will get done with the raid in like a month or 2.
Oh God, no.
Well, I mean,
no.
It's repetitive. We're like clearing bosses over and
Okay,
It's
well,
a
yeah.
gradual. It's a gradual progression. Like you'll kill like 3 in one night, and the next time you raid, you'll start at the beginning again, and you'll get like 5 this time because you'll be progressing on a new boss.
That's what's coming in the next patch for Final Fantasy, the ultimate raid, which is what takes like you need the highest gear possible, and it takes the best players like a week or 2 to finish it.
Ooh.
Oh, Brandon, can you mention the greatest boss fight or the
Sorry,
greatest boss
Brandon.
fight track in the history of games?
Yeah, the remix of Way to the World.
Way to the World remix
That's
is
literally what I just sang, and you told me it wasn't in the game.
What you said? I don't know. You said some other song.
That's the song.
Is that
Somebody
the,
in
is that
chat
the
tell
one you were
him that's
talking
the
about?
song.
Is that the one you were talking about, Reb?
No,
Way to the
That's
World?
Way to the World.
No, Wretched Weaponry.
Yeah,
No,
Wretched.
but I sang Way to the World.
Oh,
and you told me
oh,
it wasn't. in the
I
game.
don't know the
Oh.
I don't know the lyrics of Way to the World. I just
you
know
said-
that it's
you said
fucking
Wretched
dope.
Weaponry, so I
You
looked
call
it up.
yourselves Nier
So-
fans.
So Nate, what have you been playing, Nate?
So, like most other people that are huge Nintendo fans, I've been playing Luigi's Mansion 3. Not as much as everybody else. I haven't really had a lot of time, but what I have played, I've really enjoyed. You know, rehashing everything already said by everybody else is it looks amazing. It sounds great. Its charm is 10 out of 10. I really like it. I've also been doing another playthrough of Bloodborne because I love suffering.
Oh, good, good
Um,
taste, man, over here.
I play it with the whip and just listen to Castlevania music, and I dream of what could have been.
I have been saying for
Ooh.
years, give Miyazaki a Castlevania game.
Yeah,
Did
absolutely.
you all? How did you feel about what was it? Lords of Shadow.
I
Is
like
that
it.
enjoyed
the one
it.
it was?
The first
I
one was
Enjoy
good.
that, Nate.
I didn't want to play it, so I didn't. So that's sort of where I was at with that one.
Okay.
It didn't look like it was going to be my thing. It was I don't know. I like my Castlevania and my weird horror games to be a little bit more morose and a little less like bombastic like that, I guess.
Fair enough.
Um,
Okay.
It kind of seemed a little God of War-ish, like old God of War-ish to me at the time, and it just wasn't something I was personally down for, but I don't knock anybody that liked it.
No, fair enough. I mean,
um,
I heard like the second and third games were
The
not
second
that
was
great,
garbage.
but-
Yeah.
There
But
wasn't a third
I
game.
was curious because that I having seen clips of the game and not having played it, that seems like a kind of aesthetic if you wanted like Castlevania Bloodborne, but maybe not.
I've also been playing a weird kind of, I guess, to like put it in a sort of disrespectful way, a Pokemon clone on Steam called Disc Creatures.
Okay.
And if you look it up, it looks like it's a Game Boy Color game, but there's some really interesting stuff going on, and it's because it's not super popular, it's kind of taking me back to playing early Pokemon games and not having the internet to rely on of like who's the best, who evolves into what at what level, and where do I go for the best items and stuff like that. It's just a really charming game. I think it's made by like one person. But yeah, Disc Creatures, it's really fun, kind of a Pokemon-esque game.
Do not
and-
tell any major gaming websites about it.
Why?
If it's close enough to a Pokemon clone, I don't know. It'll get
Mon
down.
game is the
Okay.
respectable way to say it, but
Oh.
but yeah, and I've also like every night I play Mini Motorways on Apple Arcade, the sequel to Mini Metro. And it's a really good like kind of unwind before bed game, and I'm getting like really good at it. I'm like in the top 200 of players on a certain level, which
How
is
many
like
players are there?
15,000 for that level, I think,
Oh,
or something like
okay,
that.
that's really good.
Maybe you can fact check me on that, but I'm in the top 200 for the Dar es Salaam level. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Looking forward to Pokemon, but that's what I've been playing lately.
Dude, that's awesome. I also am very much looking forward to Pokemon, and I've got that Friday off of work. So, boom, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. I might even stream that shit. Justin, what about?
Quick question for people who've been playing Luigi's Mansion 3. Obviously, there's not like lore that's building from title to title, but is Luigi's Mansion 3 a good on point for new players?
Yeah,
Yes,
totally.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay,
But there's
like, you need no background at all. It's
no,
like a good.
not at all. I mean, there's
Cool.
fucking ghosts, and Luigi's got to suck them up with a vacuum. You know, like that's.
I haven't played 3 yet, but like the first one very much was like a GameCube tech demo. Like it was fun and it was charming. And then the second one was a 3DS game that kind of was smaller scale and level based, and like Luigi's Mansion 3 is like expanding on what the GameCube one was a bit. So I think it's probably a very good entry point based on because I played the first two. I haven't played 3 yet, but
Gotcha. Justin, while we're with you, buddy, what have you been playing this week? I know you've been like on a huge Modern Warfare kick, and then you're getting ready for Death Stranding. But is it mostly Modern Warfare these days?
that's pretty much it. I've just kind of had a stressful week at work, and it's been fun to just kind of zone out with that for a while. I think I'm like level 83 in the multiplayer now,
Holy
which
shit!
level 55 is technically the level cap. They have a weird system this year where like the after 55 levels reset every season, but there's no season right now, but we can gain levels. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, I've been having a good time with it. Like the game has its problems, but I've just been wanting like a more simple modern shooter for a while. And I think, since a lot of games have moved away from that setting, that aesthetic, and also like more towards like really hardcore like esports and team-based stuff like Rainbow Six Siege, we haven't gotten a game that's really scratched that itch for me in a while. So I've been enjoying it quite a bit. But yeah, tonight I am preparing for Death Stranding. I'm jumping in right at midnight. I've got tomorrow off of work. I have the weekend off because I usually work Saturdays too. So I got my monster ready, and
Hell yeah.
I'm
No
gonna
game
go
fuel.
in. No, it's got to be monster. See, I've joked about this before, but I feel like I accidentally willed that one into existence because I made a joke about like, oh, I'm gonna stock up on Monster and marathon it this weekend, and then TGS happened. I'm like, well, now
What
I
have
absolutely
you
have to
wrought?
do it.
What
So
have you
I'm looking
wrought?
forward to that. Yeah, so that's basically it with me. I haven't been able to grab too many games lately. I'm hoping in a few weeks, with holiday sales and getting a couple more paychecks in, I'll be able to. Like Luigi's Mansion is high on my list. I love the first two games.
Yeah, it's
And I'm
Well,
hoping to. I want to check out Outer Worlds. I'm hearing really good things about that. I do have Outer Wilds, which I've only played a little bit of. But that's very cool so far. I just wasn't in the right mindset for it, so I'm saving it for a rainy day.
Well, and so quickly before I jump on, like Justin, I'm interested to see. So I think is the first big patch for Modern Warfare where they're actually adding like their first 2 free DLC maps. Because this year there's no paid map content, right?
Correct. Yes.
So tomorrow will kind of be the first test of like how that system works. And they haven't really detailed it, but I am curious to see what things pop up in their store. For people who haven't been following this game, there's a lot of reasons why you might not be. But like they have had they've had a storefront, but there's like really not much in it except for like one pack that goes to veterans, which is kind of nice of them. But
yeah. Currently, the only thing that you can buy in their store is just the $10 pack that gives you a ton of stuff, and that money goes directly to the Call of Duty Foundation, which is a charity. So currently, right now, it's actually, and that's actually one thing I'm really liking about it. It feels a lot like a last gen game.
Yeah.
In terms of the content that's there. There's a lot of cosmetics you can unlock through playing the game.
Right.
What?
But I think tomorrow might
Yeah.
be our first test of like when they start tweaking that formula and maybe start bringing in some stuff.
Yeah.
And as they add more maps, they're gonna want more ways to monetize. But
Yeah,
I think
so- But current, so the patch tomorrow is also bringing some much needed weapon tuning. That's been an issue. There's like 2 weapons that everybody uses because they're super overpowered,
That's
and
not
I've been
good.
like forcing myself not to, which has been a struggle some nights. But I'll check it out probably if I ever wake up from my Death Stranding coma this weekend.
Hell yeah. For you, Justin, for everybody else going into a disconnected America tomorrow, stay strong, throw your piss and shit grenades, and deliver those fucking packages. All right.
Just don't
Zach,
trip. Don't fall over
Zach,
when
what
you're
have
doing
you
it.
been playing?
I'll just keep it quick. Last week, Battlefield finally released their Pacific map update. It's got Iwo Jima and then something called Pacific Storm, which is a remaster or a reimagining of a map from Battlefield 4. They are like the 2. It's like the Pacific is like the big overhaul for Battlefield 5. The game has had a rough launch. People who haven't been following, the first year was just really, really lackluster in terms of content and stability. And like this patch over the last week has felt like it's like the game has found its footing. And what's so cool about it is like Battlefield 5 has a lot of systems that are in play. But this feels like the first patch they're just like, fuck it. What if we just like added a bunch of really fun stuff? And the game just
Nice.
feels it's way like it feels somewhere between, I don't know if people play Battlefield 1943 on last gen consoles on Xbox 360 and PS3, but it feels somewhere between that and like Battlefield 4.
Nice.
And
I really need to check out. I really need to check out that update. It was just poorly timed
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like
because
yeah.
you know I'm a huge Battlefield fan.
Yeah.
And you know this, but I've also been very disappointed by the support the past year and
Right.
stuff.
Well,
So,
like,
but I really want to check this one out because I've only heard great things.
Yeah, and like to keep it brief, like I think a lot of people know, DICE has kind of just had this stroll where their first year of a game, this gen has just like not been good. Like Battlefront 2 had like a terrible first year, especially out the gate, and that game is like thriving now with like more players every month. I think was a stat they recently had. So like between Star Wars Battlefront 2 and then now Battlefield 5, it seems like DICE is figuring it out. And then with some news that Reb talked about on the show a week or two ago, Battlefield is getting more time in development for their next installation, so hopefully EA and DICE are figuring things out. But yeah, no, I've just been playing a lot of video games made by DICE. But yeah, that's it. I guess we should talk about some of the shakeups at Sony, both what's been going on for the last month and then the big news today. Justin, I know you know a lot about it. Do you kind of want to get us started on that topic?
Sure. So, about a month or so ago, Sean Layden abruptly was no longer in charge of Sony Interactive Entertainment's Worldwide Studios. We still don't know exactly what went on.
He
with
just
that
tweeted
situation.
it out.
Yeah,
Just
there
tweeted
was
it
just
out?
the tweet from PlayStation, and that's been it. So it seemed like Shuhei Yoshida was going to continue on in charge of Worldwide Studios as he had been beforehand and had been working with, partnered with Sean Layden to run those. But today we found out that Herman Hulst of Guerrilla Games is actually being promoted from director of that studio to president of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios. And Shuhei Yoshida is going to be heading up a new indie outreach initiative to work with external developers and independent developers. For me, as somebody that's followed, both of these guys for a long time and like PlayStation and stuff for a long time, I'm actually quite pleased with this news. Herman Hulst is somebody that has, especially in the past several years, made Guerrilla Games a studio that has attracted a lot of talent and has become known as like a really good place to work. And he understands a lot of the technology and stuff that goes into making games and stuff. So I'm really excited to see what he does in that position. And it's kind of strange to see somebody like Shuhei Yoshida move from being in charge of first-party studios to indie studios.
It's really weird, right?
Earlier this week, Gio Corsi left, and that was actually the one that had me a bit worried because Sony has kind of moved pretty far away from their very indie-friendly image from early on in the current generation. But seeing somebody like Yoshi moving into that role is really exciting. I think he's somebody with a lot of knowledge and expertise to offer those studios. And also, like, if you followed him on Twitter and stuff, it's kind of clear that that's where his interests have lied the past few years with a lot of indie games and VR titles and stuff like that. So, and he seems very excited about this. So, I'm excited about the future of PlayStation with this leadership. I think they've made some good choices so far.
Well, it's really weird because like for the past, years and years and years, like Shuhei Yoshida has been synonymous, like basically synonymous with, he's the head of PlayStation Worldwide Studios. So this was quite the shakeup for me. I'm with you. I think I always think it's good to get new blood in. It's just that all of this kind of happened at once. or at least in quick succession. And it was really, as somebody who has followed PlayStation for a long time, it was really jarring for me. Nathan, I saw you nodding your head. What are your thoughts on all this, man? Because like it's hard not to see this. And it's hard to see this and not think, oh, mass exodus. Like I know that's not the case, but it seems like everybody's leaving at the same time, and I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, much like Sean Layden, I wish I could just tweet and disappear as well, but it's hard not to see it as like an ill omen, right? It's hard not to look at this and be like, everybody's jumping ship. Looks like everybody's jumping ship because they don't like how stuff is looking. But, Sony knows what they're doing.
They do.
So I am far from a business analyst or anything like that. But, it is hard not to read or hear a lot of these stories about this person who, you've been hearing about for the past 8 years or even longer or whatever. They're gone. We have no idea. Sean Layden's in a bunker somewhere. We have no idea where he is.
Yeah.
It's hard to hear that stuff and say like, well, it's probably fine, but it was probably fine. The next generation is gonna it's gonna change a lot of stuff in a lot of different ways that I think even a lot of us aren't even prepared to imagine yet, right? So there's a lot of change on the horizon, and seeing these changes in leadership and management and stuff like that is sort of indicative of those other changes coming. But it does feel like, like when I worked a retail job and like, your district manager left and, the new dad came in and there's different rules and you're a little scared. So it kind of has echoes of that.
Well,
but,
and
yeah.
I think
I would back up.
No, Red, please go ahead.
I would back up Nate's point too, just from the perspective of an industry novice. My impression is that this is the kind of thing that happens around generational shifts, just like every time.
Yes.
And I think Sony certainly has seen the most of it, at least from what we can tell right now. But Microsoft is having that too. There have been a lot of shifts at Microsoft. The weird one I've noticed at Microsoft is like everybody who founded Mixer is gone now, right? As they're just dumping a bunch of resources into Mixer. That's got me kind of wondering what's going on. But that's a different topic. But anyway, this is happening on the Microsoft side. I mean, Reggie, granted that was after the Switch had launched, but the time, this is like the perfect time for it, right? Because they have already been like, Sony knows what the PS5 is. Like they haven't told us yet. And there's still some shit they gotta, organize in the, remaining year. Like there's a reason it's not out now and it's going to be out next year. But the PS5, what it is and what it can do is basically set right now. We just don't know what it is. Like dev kits are in people's hands. Maybe, I have no idea. So all the people at the upper level at Sony have already directed the vision for Sony for the next 10 years with this console. Like they've already, guided it and shaped it and done whatever. And so if they were going to make a career move of any kind, whether it's retirement, whether it's moving to a different position within the company, whether it's moving to a different company, starting your own thing, big new trend now, executives leaving giant companies, starting indie businesses. Who'd have thought? But if you're going to do that, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
And so that, I think that is maybe not all of what we're seeing. Like I do agree that the weird Sean Layden tweet was a little out there, but I think most of this is easily explainable. Is just, if you're going to leave, now's the time. Pass it on to the next generation and move on.
I think what was most jarring for me is that, if the PlayStation 4 was at the bottom of the barrel, wasn't doing well in sales, I think this news would be a lot less weird than it has been with these, kind of like, with one executive after the other leaving. But the fact, I think, and this is not indicative of, PlayStation 5's in trouble. I don't believe that for a second. PlayStation 4 is literally the second most successful console of all time at this point, which I think makes stuff like this even more jarring for me, even though I know that it's a period of transition and not some rats fleeing a sinking ship. At the same time, like it when it happens to a company who's at the top of their game, it makes it all the more weird for me. Justin, I know you had your hand up. We haven't gotten Zach's opinion on this yet.
No,
you're fine. Are you sure, Zach?
All I was going to say is that I think Reb is absolutely spot on. Like, I think that, You know, and we just saw Mike Ibarra leave like 2 weeks ago, and like things are moving so fast right now, especially in peak game season, that like we didn't even address that like Mike Ibarra left Microsoft, who's in like their best position in years, to go join Blizzard, who was like at their low point in years. Which is wild. But I think Reb's absolutely right, which is just that like, especially at Microsoft, but I'm sure it happens at Sony too, is you see these people who are in pretty high up executive positions with nowhere to go because like in Mike Ibarra's example, Phil Spencer's top dog and you're right here under him and there's nowhere to go, and so of course the only option is to leave. And I also think if you're at Sony, if you've done a kick-ass job, you have like the second most successful console of all time now is what the PS4 is.
Yeah, where are you gonna go?
There's nowhere to go at PlayStation, but also your resume just looks like you just said, hey, look, we just had the most successful console this generation and the second best of all time. Like, your resume looks good as shit. Why would you not get out? I mean, but don't get me wrong. Like, I totally, like the Sean thing at the end of September, that was fucked up. That was a little bit weird. But today's news with Herman getting that swap is actually, like, I think, as Reb was saying, really good news. And then, Justin, I want to give it back to you. I want to know what you think about the switch for Yoshida going over to the Indies thing, and then I'm happy to move on with the discussion. I just want to know what you think of that.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I'm actually really excited about that change. He seems very excited about it. Like, I think people were initially like, oh, did they just demote him? But like, if you look at his like Twitter feed, there's a ton of devs that are really excited about working with him. He's really excited about it. Like, I think that's going to be really good. And I think having him move to it is kind of not so much like they demoted him, but they're kind of promoting that position, if that makes sense. I think it's a kind of a big, like, I think that's a pretty big public thing to show that, hey, we need to do more with indies. And I'm really kind of excited to see where that goes. Especially because he also cares a lot about VR and stuff too, which is also, you know, a part of Sony's strategy. We know PSVR is going to continue to be supported in PS5. They've talked about, you know, future headsets and stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited about seeing where that goes, because that was my biggest disappointment with Sony, was that move away from that indie focus that they had early in the generation. There was an interview with Adam Boyd that really stuck with me. Like, I think it was back in 2013 or 2014, where he said, you know, indie developers are important because, you know, they might just be making something small today, but, you know, down the line, they might want to come work at our studios. They might make the next, you know, big thing. And we want to have that good relationship with them from the beginning. And they've really gotten away from that. And you know, Chu is somebody that is going to have that, you know, same kind of mindset and bring that back. So I am very excited about that.
I would just agree with both Justin and Zach here and point out that when, again, novice industry person here, so I'm probably talking at least somewhat out of my ass, but my understanding of what big executives do, like when you are, as Zach says, on the top of the top and like don't really have anywhere better to go, you do one of three things. You either stay there and retire if you're close to retirement age, which, you know, some people do. You leave and start your own new thing, which again, some people do, or you go somewhere else to maybe a less prestigious position, but that position will be one that will give you the opportunity to shape some sort of project that is meaningful to you. And I think that's something we might be seeing. I mean, I don't know. I'm not super in tune with what kinds of things Shuhei Yoshida would want to be doing, or Mike Ibarra, but I think it's plausible in both of those cases that it's somebody who is like in a very secure, prominent position, seeing something that they care about in some form and having an opportunity to shape it. The Mike Ibarra thing at Blizzard, I think that's what that is. Also really curious as to how that's going to play out, because
that timing is rough.
Yeah,
I mean, I have a joke queued up somewhere about how that's actually kind of a perfect fit in a way, but I'm not going to deliver it on this podcast.
No, but I guess I'll keep it vague and just say that like Mike Ibarra has said some things in the past that are eyebrow raising, and I guess that fits with modern Blizzard protocol. So
that's a pretty good transition.
That's a
anyway,
great segue.
What is modern Blizzard's protocol?
It's almost like I totally meant to do that.
It's beautiful.
So anyway, last weekend was BlizzardCon, and it's really cool that Blizzard could just have a convention for fans, talk about their games,
BlizzardCon.
and like there was no controversy. Everyone was really happy going
Okay,
into
Dad.
it. But yeah, no.
Dad, did you call it
aside-
BlizzardCon?
Yeah, it's BlizzardCon. It's BlizzardCon.
It's BlizzardCon. No, I'm down with that.
Convention.
It's
The Blizzard
BlizzardCon.
convention.
Listen. I had a big full glass of tequila, and it's now BlizzardCon. Yeah, so I guess to keep it brief, like top level, in case somebody has been living under a rock or someone's listening to this a year from now for some bizarre reason, we have just come out of a period in which Blizzard has come down pretty hard on a Hearthstone player who made some pro Hong Kong protest remarks after winning a regional tournament, right? And they banned him, and then they kind of walked it back and said, okay, we're gonna give him his money back, and then 6 months. And then they kind of at BlizzCon, they went out on stage and said, we acted too fast, we didn't talk to you, and that was a mistake. But they never explicitly said what they were doing. A lot of articles.
Can I talk about that very briefly, and then we can get on to the
if you have it better
stuff?
than me, please take it, please.
Well, I have the article queued up, and I just want to point out, J. Allen
you.
Brack got up on stage. He opened BlizzardCon with this. He got up on stage, and he had it was like about a 2-minute long speech where he did apologize. He didn't apologize for anything substantial. He apologized for what he referred to as Blizzard's tough Hearthstone esports moment. Which, as Imran pointed out, just sounds like he's apologizing for a heated gamer moment, which I just really fucking love that comparison. But yeah, he basically, what he really apologized for is for moving too quickly in their decision making and not informing everybody of what was going on, which is not actually apologizing for what they did. He then went on and basically said that they were open, they welcomed people to express themselves at BlizzardCon. Which he never said Blitzchung, he never said Hong Kong in this speech, and he didn't specifically say this, but he's very clearly referring to the fact that a bunch of people showed up to protest. And I think that this whole speech is, one, like morally terrible, like ethically just not great. But I do think it was a really unfortunately smart business move, because what he did is he towed the line like very, very smartly. I mean, Activision Blizzard knows what it's doing most of the time. He got up there and he gave some kind of speech with an apology in it. So again, I think it was shitty, but he did apologize for something, and so some people were placated in that way. And then he also said, if you still want to protest, go ahead. We welcome you. We appreciate all forms of expression when they're not done on our official channels. And so he basically took the wind out of the sails of any protests that were going to be there by just saying, yeah, we're cool with it. We're not going to get mad. We're not going to kick you out and create more martyrs. And as a result, I mean, I was expecting a lot more, but aside from a couple little bits from some people who were on the show floor, there really wasn't a lot of coverage or anything about protesters at BlizzCon, aside from, yeah, they were there. As we'll talk about here in a minute, there were enough good announcements that I think people just sort of decided they were willing to forget. And there's nothing to talk about from the Active Blizz financials today, but I will point out that not a single investor asked about the Blitzchung incident, which shows you what they care about.
Well, of course, right? And like, I don't think anybody should have been expecting anything different. I mean it when I say that until I see the ban lifted or until I see an actual apology from J. Allen Brack, I will not be purchasing Diablo 4. And I love the Diablo series, but
I mean, you got an apology, John.
That's not an apology, though. Like Nathan, please.
It was a we're sorry you're mad apology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was some limp dick bullshit, and it was only one of the 2 or 3 things that you could even be mad at Blizzard about. And they later followed it up and said that well, it wasn't necessarily that it was Hong Kong. If you said anything political, we would have gotten you in trouble. When it's like, okay, so if the pro Overwatch team, Florida Mayhem, has a pride themed clothing thing that they do in their store, you can buy Florida Mayhem pride themed jerseys and stuff. That's okay.
He was wearing a pride pin on his lapel as he said this.
Limp dick
political,
bullshit.
jackass.
And the craziest thing about this shit is that he didn't mention not only did he not mention Hong Kong once, the ban wasn't lifted. Like, they specifically said, we're not lifting the ban. Like, so, like, what the fuck?
So how sorry are you?
Like, yeah, how sorry can you be? And when you combine that with just like some of the Overwatch 2 shit that has come out since then, like, I've got a really good example of this. So, and this is an article from Kotaku written by Nathan Grayson. He says Overwatch currently has 31 playable heroes. One of them is a gorilla from the moon. Another is a hamster and a mecha ball. None of them are black women. This has led to a series of increasingly exasperated pleas from fans over the years to little avail. Now, finally, Blizzard has confirmed the existence of an upcoming black woman hero, Sojourn, but she's not joining the roster until Overwatch 2, again with no release date. And the question was asked, why now? Like why a whole new game? Like, why haven't we had a black woman hero until now? And according to Blizzard, it's for story reasons. And I'm like,
Great.
Hold on. Like,
Overwatch doesn't have a story, bitches.
there's no fucking story.
May met Reinhardt in the trailer for Overwatch 2. That's when they met.
Somebody pointed out that, I would almost buy it if it was something that actually did have a really focused story. However, if you look at the official Overwatch timeline on their website, it establishes that literally nothing has happened between the launch trailer for Overwatch 1 and the beginning of Overwatch 2.
The story of Overwatch is literally like a bunch of superheroes and a gorilla got together and were like, yo, we need to get this card from one end of the parking lot to the other. Like, that's the fucking storyline. That's the fucking storyline of Overwatch.
Really quick, because I first of all, everything you're saying is totally legitimate, but I think there's something that's worth addressing because it actually delegitimizes the actual criticism around this. A lot of commentary in the week since both Diablo and Overwatch 2, people said, so I guess the overarching thing is that Blizzard is like, hey, these games are far out even by Blizzard standards, and that has brought around a reaction from people who are saying things like, well, you're just using this as to make us get over this thing you did wrong. And I do want to push back on that because that's obvious bullshit. You don't no matter how extra and unnecessary Overwatch 2 would look so far, you don't pull that trailer together in a week and a half after you're fucked up.
No.
This shit
with
was
Diablo
always
4.
coming. And
it was a response. I think it's more of a response to last year's BlizzCon than
100%.
Hearthstone, because last year was when the whole Diablo Immortal shit blew up, which was pretty unfair to the developers and stuff, but this was their mea culpa for that. Hey guys, we're still doing the big games. So go on, Zach.
No.
Oh,
go ahead, Reb. Sorry.
No, you were talking.
No, all I was going to say is that one of the frustrating things I've seen this week, and honestly, there's a lot of frustrating things around this topic because I agree that Blizzard has done a shitty job, but I also think that somewhere hidden in the background, people who are trying to ride this anger also have some weird xenophobic super racist shit that they're also trying to co-opt this anger with. So I just want to couch this carefully, which is to say that there are reasons to be really mad at Blizzard. They did a terrible job apologizing here. They've been working on these trailers for a long time. Their trailers do not exist to make you get over their fuck up. You should still be mad about the fuck up. And also, I just wanted to quickly add, have you guys seen the people who have been asking Blizzard to turn back on their deactivated accounts? You guys been seeing this on
No, I've
Twitter?
not seen that.
No.
There was this viral tweet where somebody had submitted a support ticket to have their account brought back for Overwatch because they wanted to play the Halloween thing, and they were like, and if I could have my skins back, that would be great. I guess I just want to say that
Boycott Modern Warfare 2 Steam group where everyone was online playing.
It's real fucked up.
I agree. I think this whole thing has been I think it's been an interesting study in a lot of things for the games industry. It's definitely, as sort of shown by, I agree with what you're saying that no, Blizzard didn't just throw these trailers together in a month and a half to, get everyone to forget about the Hong Kong thing. I do think that nonetheless, it was very effective in making a lot of people forget about the Hong Kong
They'll
thing.
welcome the reaction.
Yeah, and I think they knew that. I think they knew that they had this coming, and if they were able to just kind of write it for the month and just, only say what was absolutely necessary and get here, then, Mr. Brack could get up on stage and deliver his apology. And everything would be fine. And I think it is. I think now we can say this is basically blown over. The people who are mad about this will continue being mad about this, and the people who are not, a lot of people are not mad anymore, and most people forget about it until we get to the year-end roundups of fuck-ups, which will include things like THQ Nordic's AMA on 8chan and a lot of Randy Pitchford. So there's a lot.
That was this year?
That was this
all this
year.
year.
2019 has been 2019 has been a fucking ride.
It's been a year.
But yeah, it's been a mess. I don't think we should let Blizzard forget this. I also think it's fair to also be excited about the things they announced, because those things were made by not J. Allen Brack. They were made by developers who are doing good work, and many of whom are upset about and had nothing to do with the Blitzchung decision,
100%.
and who are upset about it. And
Absolutely.
they made really good things. And I think you have to you have to kind of reckon with yourself, and you have to have a conversation with yourself, because we are in an era where a lot of art turns out to have been made by really shitty people. And the art is still good, but the people were shitty, and you have to sort of reckon with that. In video games, it gets even more complicated because so many people worked on it, and the vast majority of those people probably aren't shitty. So it's really hard to sort of reckon with, how you want to consume art. And I don't fault anybody who's still boycotting Blizzard. I still haven't decided yet if I want to go back to WoW or not when the new raid comes out. It's a hard decision for me that I'm going to have to figure out how to make. But I also don't blame you if you were really kind of excited for some of the shit they showed. Can we talk about some of the shit they showed?
Please, yeah.
Without undermining the fact that they still fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually,
yeah, no, let's separate that for a minute.
Yeah, really quick. I want to, Nate, do you, I just want to see, Nate, do you have any topics on, anything within the whole, the drama here? And then also, I just want to see, what, if anything, from BlizzCon, really
BlizzCon
piqued your interest.
So me personally, I haven't been playing Blizzard games for a long time. I used to play Overwatch a lot, but there was some I'm not cool with how they handle toxicity, especially from their pro players. It's a big personal thing, but now I'm even more justified in not playing, because I'm definitely one of the folks that's just well, fuck them. I don't want to play their games really anyhow. That said, I am more interested in Diablo 4 than I've ever been in the Diablo series. It's never really, despite my I listen to a lot of metal music and I lean that way pretty hard, but Diablo's never really grabbed me. But this trailer, I was like, well, okay, let's kind of see what you got. But again, I probably won't, because of my stance on other things. But the CG trailers for their games are always good. It's hardly newsworthy that they did another good one, right? But for folks that are excited for these series, WoW, Overwatch, and Diablo, there's a lot of cool shit to look forward to if you're still in the market to play these games.
For sure. Justin, what's up, buddy?
Can we talk about how weird the release for Overwatch 2 is?
Yeah,
it's
mercurial.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's really strange.
So my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I've read several articles that have thought they've had it straight, and all of them have said slightly different things. So my understanding that is Overwatch 2 is going to be released as a standalone game.
Yes.
However, all of the cosmetics from Overwatch 1 will carry over if you played Overwatch 1.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
And that is very cool. I do like that. And also Overwatch 1's multiplayer is going to get updated to include the new content, except for the PvE mode.
So new heroes.
So Reb is probably better equipped to say this than me, but my understanding, everything I have read, is that if you have Overwatch 1, you will get everything that comes in Overwatch 2 except for PvE, which means that if you want PvE content, you have to buy Overwatch 2. If you're cool with just sticking with the new maps, new characters, all PvP stuff, you can just keep Overwatch 1, and that's the game for you. Like to me, it's a glorified expansion with the 2 attached to it. Reb, is that what you understand it as?
That's not my understanding, but I
Oh.
just listened to the announcement. I didn't listen to all the mini interviews afterward. I'm about ready to go look it up, and I'll come back and tell you what it actually
Okay.
is. But
Okay.
I just want to throw in here that the fact that we're all confused about this means somebody fucked up.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. To me, like I guess like the biggest thing to me, and based on my understanding of what it is it reminds me of like Fortnite's recent Chapter 2 pivot, which ended up like getting a ton of PR, and then it's immediately kind of fallen off the mainstream topic of what we're talking about, which is like
the one thing I haven't been cleared on, and like Sam Tolbert in chat mentioned it, that says there's engine improvements and new graphics in Overwatch 2. I haven't been clear if that's going to make it to Overwatch 1 or not. Because if that's true, I almost wonder if it's more of a way just to monetize upgrades for like PS5 and Xbox Scarlet. Because if it's just like, hey, you can play some of the new content and at PS4 level, but if you want like the PS5 graphics, you're gonna buy Overwatch 2.
Yeah. Okay. So I just came back. That is correct. But everything that you all have said is correct so far. So yeah, basically Overwatch 2 is a separate game. It's the only new thing is the PvE mode and then the updated like visuals and kind of like sparkly thing. I think the leveling up is also unique to Overwatch 2. You can level up in multiplayer in that game. I like your characters, like individual heroes. I don't think that's coming to Overwatch 1, but like the new heroes, the new cosmetics, there's a new mode with a robot that pushes the payload because nobody else wants to do it. Like all that will be added to the original Overwatch. And according to a one Jeff Kaplan, who by the way, I hope that man's okay. What?
Are you talking about his? No, go on. Sorry.
I hope he's okay. He seemed a little he seemed a lot on stage. But he said to PC Gamer or Kotaku, sorry, he said, I'm reading PC Gamer, he said to Kotaku, that there's going to be a point where the Overwatch and Overwatch 2 clients will merge into one game. And so really
Really hard sell on that one, bud.
Yeah, so like, and it's cross-play. So Overwatch players are playing in multiplayer with Overwatch 2 players. So really basically it's a $60
expansion.
PvE expansion.
Yeah.
And come on, buddy.
So what I was going to say when you said is Jeff okay? I would say that at BlizzCon they gave his name title Jeffrey. So that's what I thought, which is what made me think, he was trying to class it up a little bit.
Oh no!
Like BlizzardCon.
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 Jeffrey Kaplan at BlizzardCon said.
Yes.
Oh no, he seemed very. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen him a lot on stage. He seemed like a lot. He mentioned, and I saw in a couple interviews too. I think he was real upset about the leaks. Like,
word.
I think he was like genuinely kind of upset about them. Like basically all of Overwatch 2. I mean, yeah, the details were fuzzy because the details were still fuzzy. But like the whole thing leaked, and I think he was upset about it. And then I guess there was like a talk at one point where they were like, "Hey, do you know when this is coming out?" And he's like, "I don't know. Don't ask me."
Yeah, they've made all these games sound like I think Diablo 4. They said it's gonna be a while, even by Blizzard standards.
Yeah,
which means that game's like 4 years out. And then for Overwatch 2, they said, well, we're pretty sure we're still going to be talking about Overwatch 2 at BlizzCon next year. So
also, everyone in chat calling me on my bullshit right now. You're right. We don't know it's $60. It could be less than that. We don't know the price.
True.
Like,
I'm just happy that somebody else is getting called in their bullshit other than me. So I'll take it.
The other thing that's kind of a bummer is like, I'm actually somebody who's really liked like all the extra lore and story stuff they've done for Overwatch. And when people were like, when we first started hearing the rumors that it was going to have, PvE stuff, but like multiplayer stuff was going to be combined and stuff, I was thinking there was going to be like a big story campaign, which actually would have gotten me really excited. But it turns out it's just like basically the same little PvE events that we've had in Overwatch that aren't great, just now with some extra loot and like mechanics and stuff.
Skill
And
tree
that's-
now, right?
Yeah, like I mean, they're a little bit
Ooh.
more in depth, but like they're still kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
Sure.
I really like. I honestly, if it had been like a full like single player campaign, I would actually be very, very excited for Overwatch 2. I was really bummed when I started reading the impressions of what the PvE mode is.
Yeah, but they haven't done like a single player game like that. Like it's not really cost effective for them to make a campaign like as awesome as it would be. You're going to get people playing it for the 10 to 15 hours that it's going to last, and then that's it. They would rather have you be like, I think Overwatch is in season 19 right now. Like they want that skin money for season 20 of Overwatch 2, right? So
Yeah.
I
That was
understand.
really fast.
That's always just an argument that really bums me out, especially when it comes to first person shooters. I love first person shooter campaigns. And like
Titanfall 2.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Hell yeah.
And like this is the thing that like really bums me out as more and more stuff goes games as a service. I'm not opposed to service-based game, but like if you look at it from just like pure business perspective, making something that isn't a service game isn't cost effective. You have more money for voice actors, animators, motion capture, writers, like, and this is something that's a lot more finite and like making good single player content is expensive. Making good multiplayer content, I mean, obviously it's still expensive, but maybe not to the same extent. And
you get some return. You get some return.
Yeah, it's
with
much
that.
cheaper.
Yeah,
Sure. Like,
sorry, Red, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't even see her. Sorry, the hand blended in.
To my same colored sweaters over here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sweaters, sweater pins. Yeah, I think I'm thinking about writing a piece on this soon. But I think something I've noticed that's interesting is that we're not. A couple of years ago, we had the whole industry conversation where we're like, "Oh no, single player's dead. It's done." And the kind of pushback was that no, it's not. But I think it is interesting that we're seeing single player games increasingly in the hands of either platform holders or people who can get backing from platform holders because they have the money to throw around. Like they can afford to invest in that because it will strong single player experiences will draw people to their hardware and then they'll stay for the long term.
Mm-hmm.
So that is it's effectively their service model. Or indies who aren't going to have the budget for mocap and voice actors and all those other million things, but they can make like a tight story-based experience centered, in some other kind of form that's in a different kind of budget where they would not necessarily have the budget to run a whole live game for years and years and years and have it be effective. However, what we are seeing is we're seeing the AAA publishers, the ones that don't have a hardware platform but are AAA, so like EA, Activision Blizzard, Take-Two, Ubisoft, they are increasingly moving to not just a lot of live service games, but almost exclusively live service games. Even like the single player games among them. I mean, yeah, there's a few, like you can call them out, like Titanfall we mentioned earlier, but like even like Assassin's Creed is now a live game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was basically like one of the most profitable things for Ubisoft last quarter. And that, I think of Assassin's Creed as like a single player story mode, but no, people play that shit as a live game. So I think it's interesting to see that. I need to think harder about what that actually means, but it's interesting.
And also oh yeah, sorry, John, I didn't see your hand.
No, it's fine. I just I want to see if we can start to wrap this one up and move into our questions block.
John, you completely cut out.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. That's weird. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I wanted to see if we could start wrapping this topic up to move into our questions block.
Well, Nate had their hand up.
Oh, please, Nate, go ahead.
Well, the one thing I was going to say is that I remember seeing on a video from like a video essayist named Super Bunny Hop that he was saying that Activision Blizzard makes like almost over half of their money on these microtransactions and cosmetic things like that, right? And you can't really do that in a single player game, right? So it makes sense that they, were pushing Bungie to kind of turn their game into something that it wasn't, and that's why Bungie ended up leaving. But my one question that I came up with while we were talking about this is like, if these games are so far out and everybody in the world hates Diablo Immortal, what are we going to talk about next year? Is it just like we have more, like, here's more gameplay demos of Overwatch 2 that looks a lot like Overwatch 1? Or here's, Diablo 4. I know a lot of people are, looking forward to more looks at Diablo 4, but, if you're going to have Blizzcon convention, people that are going to go there and buy tickets there, they're going to want to be there for big announcements. And I'm not saying that there isn't anything to show. I'm legitimately asking, like, what could we I'm not asking for speculation on like what games, but like what are we going to be doing these next 2 years while there's no like big announcements?
I mean, I think next year, like, they could use, hey, play Overwatch 2 on next gen consoles would be something that would get people to go there. Like, it would be their, like, because that would be probably a couple months before the consoles launch. Probably be one of the first times people could get their hands on, new controllers, new systems, and have Overwatch 2 kind of as a headlining title.
I think also Warcraft 3 is supposed to come out next year.
Yeah, the remastered one, right?
There are always like the staples every BlizzardCon of like the new WoW expansion will come out next year. So next BlizzardCon will be, okay, here's going to be the first patch in the next raid. Like that'll be, and the WoW people will go nuts for that. They always do. I imagine they will also, I would suspect they maybe reveal that they're doing Burning Crusade for WoW Classic next year. Like that would still be like a year out at that point, but that I think would be a reasonable thing to reveal. So yeah, there's plenty.
Yeah,
they always find something.
Well, and like just to Justin's earlier point that like if one of their marketing like I shouldn't say schemes, that's a loaded word. If one of their marketing phrases is that they're going to have improved visuals, that to me is an obvious key off that will be seeing this for next gen. And so I think his point is 100% that like, hey, like. Things are vague right now about what's included in Overwatch 2, and some of that's unintentional and maybe some of that's intentional. And like, I think a lot of people might end up buying Overwatch 2 that didn't need to buy Overwatch 2, and maybe that's just way too early to say. And maybe that's. But I guess what I'm saying is Justin was right. Like this thing exists to sell you a next gen upgrade, even if there is no real necessary thing for next gen upgrade. That feels unfair of me. Maybe I'm being mean now. John, should we go to community questions? Maybe
yeah, let's pivot over to questions, and our first one is from @Hypecaster on Twitter. So it's a 2-part question, and I'm going to ask the second part of the question because this really intrigues me. How much would you have to be offered to sell one of your pinky toes? Cold hard cash, don't front. Everyone has a price.
10 million.
10 million for a pinky toe?
That's high.
Question.
I want to quit my job. Let's go.
Do I have to cut it off myself?
This is crucial.
Or is it just gone?
Can I get put on, like, can I go through a procedure where I'm put on someone safely, cleanly bandages like in a hospital, they take care of it for me and it just gets
Can
sold?
I weigh in?
Yes, please.
On the rules. I think that you don't have to do it yourself, but you are not put under. You have to be awake and sober.
Why?
Okay.
Why are you adding these dumb caveats to this question?
Because
who wants my toe?
I think it adds a cool money element to it.
Because
I would
like $300.
I would up the price to pay to be put under.
You mean decrease your price?
Yeah, you would pay. You would use part of the money you were getting to have yourself put under anesthesia.
Sorry, that's what I mean, yes.
No, you're okay.
So, Reb, what's the amount then?
Yeah, for both versions.
Let's see. Okay, hold on. I need to think about how much I have in debt.
Justin, do you have a shooting from the hip estimate on your toes?
I mean, if they put me under, they could probably get it for like $500. I don't care.
I was gonna say.
Justin's a humble man.
No, I'm with Justin.
If I wasn't getting put under, we'd have to go into negotiations. But like, if they're putting me under and like I'm getting taken care of.
I'm totally with Justin, which is that if I'm put under, it might take me a couple days to notice it's gone.
Yeah. I think I'd probably go for like 6,000 if I was put under. Okay. That would pay off all my debt. Like at the moment, any amount, it would pay off and also give me a little extra for savings on top of that. And I'm at like kind of a point where amounts of like my paycheck is important and like the money I get is important, but any amount of money that doesn't take care of my debt is like not necessarily helpful to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, like just pay that off. Give me some money for savings. Put me under. Yeah, sure.
I don't need anesthesia. I don't need to be put under. Give me $15,000 and a meat cleaver that I can stick in a fireplace for a while and a hammer, and I'll take care of it myself.
I'm still
The
at 10
hammer
million.
feels extra and unnecessary.
No,
Real extra.
because here's the
That
thing.
would also cause damage.
No, it wouldn't. No, fucking boom, clean a clean cut. You don't run
With
the
a
risk.
hammer?
Yeah. No. A meat cleaver to put gently on top of the toe, and you just slam it down with a
you
That
mallet.
see-
seems like
hammer
a good
the
way to actually,
cleaver.
like, the extra
Yes.
toe. That seems like a good way to get an extra toe.
No.
Nate, talk to me. Nate, talk to me about your toes.
This is one of those streams.
Tell us about those feetsies.
No, man, it's got to be enough to. I figure if somebody's buying my toe, they really want it, so it's really their toe to lose, right? So, if they're really a pinky toe up connoisseur, they're gonna have that money, in my opinion, in this fictional reality. So it's got to be 10 million, something I can live
I
off of for basically forever. Buy an apartment in downtown Chicago and just kind of just fuck off.
Sounds nice.
Nate,
You have the right
I
idea.
like this. Nate, this is like our first interaction through podcasts, and you know, we've had little Twitter things, but like through interaction, this is our first podcast, and I'd like to know you value yourself a lot more than many of us do.
I
Because
just need
those are
things
like-
to be worth
That's
it.
really good.
Yeah, it's great. I'm happy for you.
You can have it. You gotta pay me though.
Sure. Fine, take it from me. John, do we have any more?
John, I was
maybe
taking
less-
off my headphones because you were talking about in graphic detail about taking a meat cleaver to your toe. Holy shit,
Par for the
man.
course.
Well, I mean, how else do you get the toe off,
I
right?
don't want to know.
Like,
I don't want to know. I don't want to
John,
know. No,
John, let's
I
go
don't
to
know.
less feet-related topics.
I'm just saying. I'm
I
just
don't
saying.
want to know.
I'm not saying. I'm not gonna say. I'm
You
not
did
gonna tell
say.
you. I did, but I'm not gonna say anymore. That's just my preferred method.
I'm not
That's
gonna
all.
say it twice.
That's all I'm saying is that's my preferred method. Next question from @tpaz117. You always talk about video games, but I want to know what other hobbies you have. Does someone build model train sets? Does someone brew beer? What else are you proud of in your life? Reb, I would love you to start this one off.
Oh, I have a lot of hobbies. That's really nice of you. I've cooked through 2 entire cookbooks. I'm a terrible cook, but I enjoy doing it. You mentioned beer brewing. I've made mead now. I guess that's now sort of a hobby. I like to garden. I don't have a garden anymore ever since I moved into an apartment. I really miss gardening, but I'll probably have some potted plants next year, and I'm excited about that. I try to read a book every month. I wish I wrote more fiction, so I was going to do National Novel Writing Month, but I ended up not having the time this month, which is okay. And what else do? I do yoga. That's fun.
By the way, Reb gave me a recipe for what sounds like an amazing pork chop dish, and Reb, I'm cooking that shit up this weekend. Like,
I'm excited to hear, because I'm pretty sure you're a better cook than me. Excited to hear what
Reb, I've seen this shit that you cook. There's no fucking way I'm a better
I'm
cook
not
than
a
you
good
are.
cook. I'm really, really mediocre.
I literally refuse to believe that.
Those
but
pies look too good to be mediocre.
I'm with Nate on
thanks.
this one.
Thanks, you too.
So my hobbies outside of games, I love physical fitness. I love working out. It's not even just a physical thing for me, it's a mental thing. It just puts me in a good headspace. I love world history. I'm a huge history buff. I especially World War II history and any ancient battle, from Mesopotamia to I love it. I love antiquity, basically. So I'll read when it comes to world history. I'll read it. And beer and whiskey. I'm a beer and whiskey connoisseur. So I do a lot of tastings. I have a lot of different opinions on beer and whiskey. I can tell you all about mouthfeel and notes and flavor and acidity and love it. I love that stuff. And my dogs. I love my dogs. I love my dogs so much. But yeah, as far as hobbies go, those first 3 are probably my big ones. Who wants to go next?
Real quick, sorry, chat was asking earlier. Apparently confirmed by a developer of some sort that Ouija tastes like coffee. Sorry about that. Please continue.
Yeah, that's I did hear that's canon.
That is canon. Sorry.
I did want to point to, so Peachy in chat wants a quick word on the risotto. I do make an amazing creamy mushroom risotto that takes about an hour to make. You got to use No, oh no! You haven't had my risotto, my friend. It takes about an hour to cook. Constant stirring. You got to add that chicken, that bone broth slowly. You got to add that stock slowly. You got to a lot of butter, some onions, some parsley, and just it's so fucking good.
Sorry, John.
Anyway.
Constant stirring and worth it are antonyms.
No.
Nate, tell me about your hobbies.
It's not cooking. I'm way lazy when it comes to cooking, and I'm also vegan, so I order a lot of things, and I do a lot of microwave meals and just simple frozen stuff for me. Fruits and veggies too. But hobbies. I am a film graduate, so I watch a lot of movies. I like me some TV. I really like comics. I haven't been reading as many comics as I would like to this year. The year before I was blowing through stuff, but I have a huge stack of things that I need to read at the moment. I too have a dog. I have a deaf and blind Sheltie named Prudence. She is the best. All of my emotes, Cam's putting it in the chat. All of my emotes are my dog.
Hi, Prudence.
She's great. But other than that, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I said at the beginning, I have my own now, so that's sort of been my spare time thing, is sort of devoting all my my bandwidth to that. So I haven't had a lot of spare time other than that, but loves me some movies. I like collecting stuff. As you can see, I've got amiibo behind me. I have every single US amiibo. I have a bunch of Gundam models.
A fellow amiibo brother. I appreciate that.
Yep. I have a Gundam models. I collect Pokemon and enamel pins, Nendroids for the Zelda series. But yeah, a lot of art talk and stuff like that. I watch a lot of what's it called? Video essays on YouTube and stuff like that. I just like learning about cool art stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, fantastic.
So lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who's next? Justin, are you next?
Yes.
Am I? Or is
Yeah,
that...
you're next. That's me telling you you're
Okay,
next.
I guess I'm next. All right. I love movies. I go to the movies a whole lot. We're lucky enough that even though I'm not near a big city or anything, because Kodak used to be the whole economy here, we have a couple long running theaters that get a lot of independent films and do showings of old movies and stuff like that. So I've actually gotten to see a lot of older movies in theaters and stuff too, which is really, really cool. We got to see Rear Window from Martin Scorsese's personal collection, because he keeps it stored here. And so they had written permission from him to the print and everything. So a lot of times we get to see original prints and stuff too, which is really cool. So, but yeah, I really love movies, and I've also been doing a lot more writing lately for fiction and stuff. So
plus, you love Godzilla. Don't forget Godzilla.
Okay,
dude.
well,
You've gotta.
I actually got this right here, which is, somebody got me this as a gift, which is one of the best gifts I've ever received. It is the Criterion 1000.
Holy shit.
15 movies on 8 discs. In a full coffee table book with a bunch of artists doing custom art for each movie. It's extremely cool, and I didn't think I'd be able to get it because it was expensive, and somebody got it for me as a gift, and it's one of the best things I've ever received. So
Justin, this is a good time to tell you something. So I'm going to do it live here on the podcast. So Justin, I know that you've been going through a rough patch.
You cut out.
So okay,
John, it happens every time you lean away from the.
Sorry about that.
You gotta stop wiggling.
I'll stop wiggling. I'm excited. I can't stop wiggling. I'm a wiggler. But Justin, I know you've been going through some stuff, and without getting into it on the air, I know that you've been having a tough time. So I have something for you. I know that you're a huge Godzilla fan.
Oh my God, Ellen, you didn't.
So check this out. So this right here, this is the Nekatoys Godzilla figure from the NES game, and it's styled.
With the grid.
Yeah, it's got the grid, and it's styled after it's the Godzilla styled like the old NES game, so that's for you. and I'm going to be
Oh, you
sending.
didn't-
I'm going to be
You didn't
sending.
have to do that.
Of
Oh
course
my
I
God.
did. Of course I did. So I'm going to be sending it to you tomorrow, actually. So just wanted to let you know that this is
thank you.
This is
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
This is a little something from me. So just to kind of lift your spirits, man, because we love you.
Oh, thank you, man.
Dad bought you an action
That's cool.
figure.
I did. I bought you an action figure toy.
Dad bought me toys.
Ah, fuck! I
Dad, what are your
just banged the
hobbies?
fucking shit out of my knee. Jesus Christ!
But my hobbies. I don't know if I can move. I've played drums for a lot of years.
Hell yeah.
So played drums for a long time. Other than that, like movies, but I like to try to see a couple a month if I can. Try to go to the theaters. But other than that, like I don't know. I don't know. I try to read. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like I want to tell you I'm a reader, but that's a fucking lie. Like I feel like I have more fingers than I do books I've read since high school. I'm pathetic like that.
That's me. That's me
Hey.
too.
Yeah. Sorry.
Hey, no, listen. So like I had that exact same problem, and this year I told myself that I was going to try to read a book a month, and also I didn't. And so I started doing that, and I think I've read a book a month. Like, how many months are we in now? This is month 11. So like of the
Yeah.
10 months that have passed this year, I think I've read about 6 books. But
Okay, that's
like-
pretty good.
yeah, and like I didn't get upset with myself for not doing it, and I feel like I'm both reading more, and also I don't get mad at myself when I don't read more. So like don't beat yourself up. If you want to be a reader, and if you don't. You read a lot of shit online every day anyway.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
news is also content. But read
Okay.
books if you want to.
Well, that makes me feel better. I guess also like just listen to like a lot of hip hop and like I don't think that's a hobby to listen to hip hop. I don't think that's a hobby so much.
Music is a hobby, man.
All right. Then
Music
yeah,
is a hobby,
I listen to a lot of hip hop and like I mean I honestly like I didn't listen to a lot of hip hop growing up, and then when I got into playing drums, like hip hop was like where I went to like learn how to do some weird shit that like wasn't the same fills that you'd hear in every rock song. So like
Mhm.
hip hop is kind of been like where I spent a lot of time in the last 10 years. But yeah, those are my hobbies. Not a lot of them. I spend a lot of my time being tired. Speaking of tired, John, it's 10:30.
It is 10:30. It is
Is it time to
10:30.
go the fuck to sleep?
It's time to go the fuck
I
to
think it's
sleep.
time
But
to go the fuck
however,
to
I
sleep,
did
yeah.
throw out in chat that I have one more wholesome.
Stop wiggling.
He's wiggling again.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry. I'm
You do
sorry.
this
I'm
thing,
fucking
John.
stationary.
You start talking, you're like, and I did this thing that tell.
Whoa, Reb just cut out too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
holy
what
shit.
happens when you're
Okay.
on voice detection and you lean way the fuck back here.
Okay, so I have one more wholesome surprise. I have one more wholesome surprise for everybody. Other than Justin's cool NES Godzilla thing that I'm sending him, Reb. You did an amazing job with the Discord. You did a fucking awesome job, and you're running it like you did. You're running it like a champ. Like for anybody who has, so there's no doubt Reb is in charge of the Discord. Like she's fucking killing it. She is the person in charge of Discord. And
Y'all are a lot nicer than the fucks who hung out on GameSpy's Golden Sun fan forums
agreed.
in the mid 2000s. So
Fucking agreed.
Easy.
Fucking agreed. So Reb loves the way Justin loves Godzilla is the way Reb loves Chrono Trigger. Specifically, Reb loves Robo. She even has a cat named Robo, and of course Reb is like, she just looks like Luca. Like, I'm sorry, but Reb just looks like
I
a
do.
real life Luca. So Reb, tomorrow I am sending you. This is straight from Japan. This is Robo and Luca.
Oh.
Right here, and of course, Luca is fixing Robo, right here, and that is for you, and
That's darling. Thank you so much.
that is for
So
you.
Sweet of you.
and I just want to do nice stuff for my game children.
Thank you, John.
So no, you deserve it, and Justin, you deserve the Godzilla, and I will send those to you tomorrow. So I hope you enjoy them. That's just thanks for everything. The two of you bring to SDGC, and we really love you both, and I could not be happier that both of you are a part of our little family, part of our lives.
Thank you. John.
So yeah, seriously. Do we have anything else we want to?
I just a couple quick housekeeping things. One, Nate, thank you.
You're
Nate,
welcome.
plug your shit again.
Yeah, please plug
Yeah,
your shit,
Tell
Nate.
everybody where they can
Plug your
find
real good
all
shit.
your shit and where your friends are.
My friends are right here on this Discord call.
That's
with
what
me.
the fuck I'm talking about.
I set you up for that one.
So my newest and my newest thing that I'm the most excited about is the New Entertainment System podcast. You can find it on literally anything. I've been trying really hard to make sure that it's on any weird service that anybody happens to listen to. Cam is dropping links in the chat. But at Twitter, it's at the NES Pod. We do an improvised comedy gaming show with a guest from the games industry, games podcast scene, or games journalism industry. Reb has been on an episode. We've got Derek coming up. We're booked out through like January of 2020 at this point with guests. It's a really, really fun, goofy time. Otherwise, I can be found at Two-Headed Giant on Twitter, and it's my Twitch handle as well. I stream a lot of Nintendo games, a lot of weird indie games, like What the Golf and stuff like that. I found like really, really
What the
fun.
golf? Good choice.
Legitimately, like in my
I've heard
top
it's real
3
good.
games this year. Like it's amazing.
Fun.
And what else do? I do like game corruptions, like ROM corruptions, where I'll like use an emulator and a third-party piece of software to like jumble around the bits and bytes, and it messes the game up in fun, goofy ways. Let's see. Yeah, that's just about it. You can find me on Twitter at Two-Headed Giant.
Please go follow Nate. Do yourselves
Please
a favor, go
do.
follow Nate. He's just good people all around. So please go please go do that. I don't think we have anything else. So
Wait.
Whoa.
One more thank you to people who helped support SDGC and NOLA Nerdcast and like the
Yes.
SDGC family through Extra Life. Like
Mhm.
we really appreciate that. That makes it like a real impact on kids who need it. So obviously we really appreciate everybody for helping us out.
And if you haven't joined the Discord, go do it. It's wholesome and pure. You should join.
Yeah.
I'm
Here,
there.
I'll throw out one more link in the chat.
Please do that. All right. So if nobody else has anything, don't forget, we're going to be doing Mario Kart Community Game Night this weekend. So I'll settle on a time tomorrow morning. What?
Every time.
Mr. Wiggles.
Every fucking time.
I didn't even wiggle. I didn't
Here,
even
Wiggle, we
move.
watched
I'll
you.
close it out. All right. It's not always poetry. We don't always agree, but we always keep it real. Take care of each other. Good night. Have a nice weekend. Thanks again to Nate. Good night.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.